Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the World Illustration Awards 2025 Winner Interview Series, presented by AOI in partnership with Directory of Illustration, celebrating great illustration across the globe. And today is the first interview in our Winners Interview Series, where we'll be speaking to the amazing Matteo from Truly Design Crew. They were our 2025 XPPen Digital Innovation Award winners, and they are an Italian-based crew set up in 2003, born from a passion of graphic design, illustration, and painting. They've worked on some amazing projects, creating large-scale murals, anamorphic artworks, painting basketball courts, museums, headquarters, and buildings across the globe, creating work for the likes of Spotify, Nike, Red Bull, Adidas, and more. So I'm really excited to chat to them today. And without further ado, welcome, Matteo. How are you?
I bet and find there was a really flattering intro, so
You're welcome.
hope I'll be up to the standards as a representative of my collective. So yeah,
Yes, definitely. I'm sure you will be. I mean, tell us about yourself. Like, tell us about the collective. How did you guys meet? How did you start working collaboratively together?
well, yeah, sure. It's a bit of a long story actually for the collective. I myself, I've been part of the design crew for 7, 8 years at this point, but it all dates back to 1998 actually, when the founding members actually started painting together. And uh, yeah, I was born in '96, so it's been going on for way longer than my life, which is kind of cool. So as of now, it started off as a crew of 4 people. Then there have been changes and whatnot. As you might imagine, in more than 20 years, things happen. And now we are 8 people total, plus for very large scale murals or projects. We might get some help by other artists we know, but we like to keep it as a close, tight family, which is that's something people usually say. It's not work, it's family. No, it's work. It is work, but it's less heavy to do work if you're doing it with family, and that's how we see each other pretty much. So there's a varying range of age. So the family members are in their 40s by now, and then there is a younger part of the team. And I can describe our usual workflow as a collective effort, definitely, because what sets us apart, and I don't mean it's necessary, it's just different than most agency or individual freelance professionals, is that which you never really see. This is, we have one style that is the truly design crew style, which is what clients ask for. For now, we're lucky enough, having reached the point where clients ask for our signature style, as you would with an individual artist. But we are 8 different people working on their own things, and much as a real street art crew, you have everyone is specialized in something, and then you come together and try to make something out of it. So we have really good portrait fine artists. We have a calligrapher. We have someone who works best in Illustrator. Myself, I work in collage and paste up and animate some stuff. So it all comes together if you really manage to take this collective effort, and the output it's really cool. I mean, we try and make it cooler as we go on.
Yeah, that sounds amazing and nice what you were saying about everyone bringing their own skill set to the project. And I guess with that, they also bring their own perspective because, like you said, you guys have such a clear vision and style, but it's really nice to see that perspective, yeah, across the board and what you add to that. So yeah,
Yeah,
that's amazing.
it's something you build with time, and it's rare, I guess, because of ego. Even if you do your own thing and we all like to do our own things in the spare time when we can, or for other projects. But it's important to be focused, because we cannot afford really at this point to lose that focus and just change up too much. But of course, it helps in evolving the style, because that part in being more than one head, it's easier perhaps, because you have more inputs from everyone trying to make something. Okay, we might try and animate stuff. Well, okay, we might try and approach furniture, because we like applying to as many things as possible. It started off as painting, so basically at the beginning it was like not even just in our signature style. You say you want something painted with an artwork, and we just do that. And of course, at the start might be something more commercial, less artistic. You're just making huge logos, lettering, and whatever. And then, fortunately, it started to translate in something more inspired, let's say.
And such a variety as well. Like I mentioned briefly at the start of the interview, but how many different, like you were saying, some of those more commercial projects and some of the, large scale museums or like basketball courts. Like there's so much energy and color and such a unique use of shape. It's really amazing how that translates across so many different elements.
Yeah, sure. And the weird thing is probably proper illustration in an editorial sense, is the one we dabble in with the least. So since we came from muralism and just it's easy to make a poster, then I think we made the first illustrated book covers this year, and we never done that before, which is weird. You spend ages just drawing for a living, and due to how weird this mix we have going on here is, we never really did proper illustrator work. We just did a weird mix of everything. So it was nice to dip our toes in the water here with just applying for the awards, which is something we
Yeah,
didn't consider a while back. For example, it was like, well, maybe it's stupid, I know, but it was like, okay, maybe we're not really illustrators. Can we apply to those kind of prizes, to that stuff? I mean, maybe it's not just our lane, but in the end, turns out it is, which is cool.
Yeah, well, I'm glad you did because, yeah, you're one of our winners, which is, yeah, amazing. I mean, you kind of mentioned that you had some doubts about whether to apply or not. What was that initial decision where you thought, okay, we're going to apply and, yeah, send this project in and apply?
I don't remember a precise thing or moment. We just it was never even suggested by someone. I think we just stumbled. We were following the page. We just stumbled upon the call to action for application, and I think for one time we had a project that we felt, well, this could work. This is an interesting approach in illustration, which is not our usual thing, because as I said, it's usually more like an individual, a single artwork. So it's like a poster, a key visual. This time we had in our hands a whole system. The project was really wide, large. It covers a lot of bases and applications. So we just looked at it and by chance, and we were like, yeah, we might do that. We might apply for that, and it turned out great. So happy to have done that.
That's great. And tell us about the award-winning project, the World Skate Games Italia 2024. It's such a cool project, seeing, as you said, how many different elements you brought in. The fact that it's digital and printed, and there's the trailer as well. It feels like a really immersive 360 project. What was that like to work on?
Well, it was great because, well, they were nice as a client, which is something you cannot really take always into account, because most clients are really nice, and you cannot do this job by hating your clients most of the time. We have to admit that. So they were really nice and supportive of the work, and it was not a tight leash, so we were kind of free to explore and propose things. Actually, it started off without the animated trailer, for example, without merch. So they were just, at the minimum. They were like, okay, we need to amp up the aesthetics because we're not satisfied what we've done before, which was like, just very, very simple, minimal graphic design. So they wanted to just spice it up a little. And then it's always nice when you get into the really good flow where they're like, okay, we like this, we might add some more, which of course it translates to more budget, more opportunities, and you can just, widen the range a bit. So it started off, as you said, it was like, it's a huge event, a worldwide event. In this case, they wanted to, as the central headquarters actually are in Italy, in Rome. And this year, well, not this year, last year, it happened in Rome. Actually, they wanted to, make something really cool with that, and to actually use the city, the billboards, what they had there. They wanted to, it was like a flagship event. So what we did was like, it's a diffused event, so it was lots of cities in Italy, with the main one being Rome. So each city more or less was focused on a single sport. It was every roller skating sport was included. So it was, if I'm not misremembering, like a dozen of them. So
Oh,
they
wow.
needed at first 12 cohesive illustrations for that. And then we made the animated trailer. And I think another important part was they also had a great internal team which took care of actual applications. What we did, mainly due to time constraints, because it was a really tight time frame, actually.
What was the time frame?
I think we had like a month, maybe a month and a half
Okay.
to do everything. So there was no way. I mean, we're not a big agency, so we just like, if you take accounting away, we like 6, 7 guys just trying to do everything. So of course we
Yeah.
couldn't have managed to make all the touch points, because actually there were really a lot, because they used artworks for everything from large banners, I'm talking, building facade large, or cards, the codes for the passes and everything, and the bibs, the racing bibs for the athletes. And so what we did, because one thing you learn is to do that thing smarter, we did the illustrations, and we took some elements out of that in order to make some sort of toolkit they could use to apply everything, regardless of the graphic designer's ability, in a satisfactory way, which is something you might encounter sometimes. You make something really cool, and then you have to hand it over to someone who's not that competent. So we wanted to cover all our bases, and they were actually competent, so it turned out pretty good. They were able to actually use the bits and pieces we gave them in order to make something cohesive that could really tell a story about the whole event, and everyone was really happy, and we were too.
That's great. And it sounds like you worked really well under that pressure as well of having that tight turnaround. And I guess
Well,
that's,
we're used to that. Yeah,
yeah,
that's
part
I
of
think,
it.
yeah, it's part of it. Living the danger. Actually,
Exactly.
I'm not really. I don't have the street arts curricula of the founding members, but one thing they always said is, once you have to paint a train, and but if you were hypothetically to paint a train, and hypothetically being scared of the police finding you, if you ever were to make something like that, which we never did, you kind of get used to working under pressure. It's
Yeah,
like,
that is
it's your
that's a very
extra 10 minutes pressure. So if we have a month, we're lucky.
that's true. And I guess it speaks to how well you collaborate and you've kind of got that muscle memory of knowing what skill sets to pull in and yeah, to work collaboratively. So that's great. It's an amazing project. And how did it feel to be a winner? Do you remember finding out that you were in the long list and the short list and yeah, our winner? How did it kind of feel being part of that?
Well, it's always nice when something, you work, and especially if you're focused on the work, you need a pat on your back sometimes. So we really just actually we sent a submission and just really forgot about that. Also because it's a really long time frame, between everything. So I think we might have missed the long list initially because we didn't know when things would happen. And of course, we were really happy. We also knew how many people apply for these things, so it was like, okay, that's nice. We're in the long list. We do not suck, but you really can't take winning into account. So it was just okay. We're long listed. Let's wait to see. And then the short list happened, and we won a prize. Actually, we have to thank XPPen because it's nice to have a pat on the back, but it's also nice to actually win something. And they were nice enough to send us over one of the tablets, which proved to be a very valuable tool we're using right
That's
now.
great.
So it was great. That was an added surprise to everything. But it's cool to win something from time to time. It's cool to, it's some bits of reassurance that what you're doing is right and what you're doing is right for, maybe a wider public, because of course it goes well for us. We're working, but that only speaks on the client side. I don't know if I'm explaining myself, but
No, I
it's
know exactly what
you
you
keep
mean.
working, and so it means clients like you, and that's fine. But these kind of things, it's more a wider public. So you say, okay, we do not suck for our clients, we do not suck for other people. So
Yeah, and
it's
having that reassurance, like you were saying, it's kind of as much as that can come from you guys as a collective internally. Sometimes it is nice to have that external
yeah,
uh,
exactly.
external feedback and support as well, and especially from, as you said, how many people enter the awards, how global it is, and how our judges see so many entries, and that's
Yeah,
really
definitely,
great. That yeah, the XP Pen, all of the software has been really useful for you guys, and yeah, it really
definitely.
ties in with the type of work that you make. I mean, you kind of already touched on this about the like the impact of winning an award. So you mentioned about the reassurance in terms of, how it feels to be an award winner. Is there anything else that you, I don't know, personally have taken away from being an award winner, other than the reassurance that you kind of think, okay, this feels like it feels a certain way potentially?
Well, I think that's the main thing, which I think is really important, even more for someone who's just starting out. That's something you actually need to, especially since it's easier at first, at least to get reassurance rather than money. So you just have to make of that what you will, what's the best of it. So reassurance is not something small. It's something we all need, especially when starting out. And then, of course, it's a way to take a temperature, of the industry in that case, especially for us as a bit of outsiders, actually, because we don't do, for example, editorial illustration. We are just a bit out of it and just do many different things. So it's not only reassurance, but just being more aware of a certain, let's say market, which is a bad word, but that's what it is.
It's very true. And I think that the really nice thing about the World Illustration Awards is it shows how varied illustration is. That's really
Yeah.
interesting that you were saying that you guys feel, that even though it's not an editorial illustration or what maybe would be deemed as traditional illustration, I think illustration is so varied, and, the work that you guys do and how immersive it is and how it showcases your perspective. It's just the kind of thing that people get excited by and people are energized by. So yeah, it's definitely a place for you in the illustration community, and it really shows the fact that you're one of our winners. But that's really nice what you're saying about the reassurance. Is there any advice that you would give or any reassurance that you would give to people that are thinking of entering the World Illustration Awards 2026? What would be the advice that you would give them?
Well, honestly, for due to the upsides that I mentioned, and due to the unspoken fact that it's really affordable compared to a lot of these things. I mean, I've been applying to film festivals for animation, and those things can really, take a toll on an independent artist. So it's affordable. It's cool. Just do it. I mean, you should just apply to even not just this, but any, especially when starting out, to any kind of prize or something, just because of just putting yourself out there. I think it's really important. And another important thing, and I'm still talking to people, thinking of people who are just starting out, because I think they're ones more in need of advice. At some point, you just become more, impermeable to advice. But I think it's just to put yourself out there, but also talk to other people, talk to your peers, to everyone else. One really cool thing that we didn't have time to, since we're working a lot, to actually really see all the things the membership involves. But one thing I saw that I thought was really cool are all the templates and reference material for, payments, legal stuff, things we don't know, because that's the boring part, and that's the part nobody teaches you about, especially when you're starting out, you're fresh out of design or art school. And that's something really important, to really talk with your peers, with people with your same level of experience or more than that, because you really need to talk about the bad things. You need to talk about money, rates. You need to be aware of your work and how much that is worth, which is, it's bad. It seems bad to talk about it, because we always want to talk about the artistic, the creative side of it. But the really cool thing that these kind of environments allows for is talking with other people about the stuff you don't want to talk about, because you need to. I think we all should unionize, but that's a matter for another day. But that part is really important, because you, especially when you're like freelance. I mean, we're lucky, we are well structured, it goes well. But especially if you're a freelancer, you're either born rich, or you cannot afford not being aware, of the state of things, and talking with your peers through World Illustration or any other channel. I think that's the most important part, to be aware of this as a profession.
Yeah, definitely. And I think that the community aspect is something that we're really passionate about with the networking events and, being able, like you said, just to give people a chance to start those conversations. Sometimes if you're freelance and you do feel like you're completely on your own in this huge industry, but the more
Yeah, it can be
conversation,
scary.
exactly,
Yeah,
yeah.
it's a huge sea.
Yeah, the more conversations you have, the more knowledge that you're able to share with your peers, and also the more confidence that you get as well, because you can really cheer each other on, which is really, really great. So, yeah, that's great that you think that people should, yeah, go for it and enter, and it's a good way to get that sense of community.
Yeah, definitely, definitely.
That's great. So, is there anything that you guys are working on at the moment that you've got coming up that you can share or that you're excited about?
Well, lots of stuff. Actually, the thing we're most excited about is Christmas break, actually, because we've been
I
working too
bet.
too hard on too many things. We just finished a huge 70-meter mural here in
Wow.
Italy. That's yeah, it's actually, to anyone who would like to call us to do something like that, you don't do that in this time of year. We did it. It's
I was
it's
just about to
too
ask.
cold now.
Yeah.
no, people should not do that. It happened in this time frame for reasons, but it shouldn't happen. So if anyone wants a huge mural, let's just please wait for springtime. And we have lots of projects. We are trying to we're making furniture actually at the moment. So we just received a couple of prototypes of things we're working on. And then it's basically this time of the year, it's just kind of winding down a bit and trying to design the stuff we're going to paint in springtime when it's, the weather allows for it. And yeah, I just need a break at this moment.
Yeah. But yeah, hopefully you'll have a nice restful break and yeah, you'll come back in the new year feeling refreshed and ready to go. Yeah, it's not time to wind down, definitely.
We will, yeah, it's that time of the year.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much for joining us. It's been so nice to hear about you guys and your process and yeah, your practice, what you guys are working on, and also your amazing award-winning project. And for anyone watching, if you want to follow Truly Design Crew, they recently did an Instagram takeover for us on our Instagram. So their profile will be linked there. Make sure you follow them and check out what they're working on, as well as their website. And yeah, it was so lovely to chat to you, Matteo. Thank you so much for your time. And again,
My
congratulations
pleasure, Beth.
on your award.
Thanks again. It was my pleasure, and have a good day.